Well, hi, this is Peter Combs from Bidamount.com and P.O. Combs Asian Art in Gloucester, Massachusetts, and today is April 27th, 2018. It's Friday, and as always, we'll take a look back at last week's eBay auction results, see how things did, take a look ahead at next week's items that are coming up, just a few of them, because we don't have time to go through the whole thing, but with quite a few good things coming up, and some very nice things sold this week, things that we talked about, and we're going to take a look. We'll start with this one. This was that gong shoe. This sold yesterday. It was a nice gong shoe plate, good Femme Vert enamels on it with some Famille Rose, lots of use of good green. Here's the back of it. It looks okay to me. It had a nice foot on it. If it wasn't gong shoe, it was only slightly out of period, but very good quality. All right. And it brought $2,024 from a dealer in Denmark had this. Nice looking piece, nice looking dish. And it was about 6 or 7 inches wide. And then there was this. This was one of the relative bargains for the week. If you're a fan collector, you missed out on this, I think. This was a beautiful black lacquer and paperwork fan decorated, painted with figural scenes and all that stuff. Here's a nice shot of the lacquer work on it. Good quality lacquer. Here it is again. And it had the original box, which is always nice. These beautifully done fitted boxes with a painted interior. Quite lovely. And there's the box all lacquered, nicely done. And I've seen these boxes sometimes bring almost what this fan brought, $405. This was a good buy. This was a very, very reasonable buy. We've seen in previous weeks, some of these fans, sort of the baseline price for them seems to be around $600 or $650. And we had that very nice one last week that had tortoise shell and ivory blades that brought around $2,000. So keep that in mind. And if you're a fan collector. And there's this very nice Qinlong period guglet with a Chinese taste scene on it, a little cobalt blue honeycomb pattern up here on the garlic neck, but a nice looking pot, nice clear yellow enamels on it. Probably done around mid-18th century. Good looking thing. Has 2 small flakes on the rim of the mouth of it, right there and there. But other than that, not much to complain about. And it brought $1,125, which is about right. These perfect can bring, $1,500 to $1,800. This is a rather unusual pattern. Most of these bottles were done in underglazed blue, okay? Little secret. If you see something you like, before you put a bid on it, there's a little sequencing to this. Put it on your watch list, okay? And once you put it on your watch list, then go leave a bid on it. Because if you leave a bid first, they take away the option of also putting it on your watch list. And you want both because they give you different notifications of when the item is coming to the end, different reminders. And you want to get them all so you don't miss it. And I found the watch list reminders sometimes aren't that good. If you have something on there, even if the bid is only $1 above the current price, it gets you on the radar screen with eBay, and they'll notify you much more regularly as the item is coming up to close. But also do put them on your watch list first before placing the bid. All right, just a hint. All right, and back to this fan. This was the other fan. I talked my way through that. This was a really nice carved tortoiseshell fan done around 1820 or so. Beautiful quality, just great quality. These tortoiseshell fans are just fabulous. You're not supposed to sell tortoiseshell on eBay, I know, but in the UK they don't enforce it much, or in Europe for that matter. But this was a beautiful example, and it did pretty well. It brought $1,691, just about $1,700, but with free shipping. All right, and this was interesting. This was a seller in Seattle that sold this. I just noticed that. He called it faux tortoiseshell. It's not faux tortoiseshell. That's real tortoiseshell. All right, we move on. And there was this pair of double gourd vases. The seller, it's a good seller, and and it happens a lot. Put these up as Wan Li, Chinese Wan Li. These were not Chinese. These are Japanese Arita. All right, and these were, I suspect, judging by the hole in the bottom, my genius mind tells me, and the cut tops. These have been reduced. These were lamps. But it doesn't matter. These are very nice pieces of Arita made around 1680 and fairly rare, and it was a pair. All right. They weren't Wan Li, which was, of course, about 100 years before, but very nice quality. And despite the error in the description, they still brought $2,298. I hope the person that bought them knew that they were Japanese and not Chinese. That's the only thing I worry about when I see those. Grand Pip 7 had that. Usually he gets those things, but that early blue and white Arita can look an awful lot like early Chinese as well. So it's an honest, very honest mistake to make. And then there was this vase, this rather nice 19th century pear-shaped vase, nice thin porcelain on it, beautifully decorated, nice detail. Here's a picture of the man. Good-looking robes, little feet sticking out at the bottom. And this vase did pretty well. It brought $773, okay? It was a nice size, and it was in good condition. And then there was this bottle vase. This was a nice-looking pot with a court scene on it, with a woman standing around a man at a table with a paper spread out, and very nice decoration all the way around. It was in good shape, and made about 1830 or 40, and it brought $1,343. Okay, that's a pretty good price for that. Not an overpayment, but it's a good strong price. All right, and then there was this. This was the pair of Famille Rose jars, done very much in the Yongchen or Qinlong style. These were later, of course. These were 19th century pots, even though they had Qinlong marks on them. They added these marks to a lot of things, and you'll notice the mark it looks like a T. This little down here in that corner, when you see that part of that mark. Generally speaking, you can rest assured that's 19th century when you see that on the mark. And but believe it or not, they did use them in the 18th century once in a while, not often. And these sold for $1,699. Okay, beautiful examples. He listed them as 19th century. He wasn't being duplicitous. And then there was this transitional jar with the court ladies holding the fans, and there are ladies with musicians here. Here they are. Playing different instruments and so forth. Here's the bottom of it, very typical of these transitional pieces, slightly concave, nicely trimmed around the edges, little glazed messes here and there. Good looking pot. And it brought $7,523, okay, with the lid. And that's right in there. That's about what these sell for. All right. And then you have this Nanking tureen, nice small tureen. This was one of the relative bargains of the week. Had a little strawberry finial on top, strap handles, but good quality decoration. And it went for only $260, okay? That was a good buy. Somebody got a nice buy on that. And then there was the card case, these sandalwood card cases. Few of them have turned up in the last few weeks, months, and they seem to be doing better and better. They're sort of bringing what the ivory cases used to bring. The ivory cases now bring more. Now the sandalwood cases, if they're good quality, are bringing increasingly larger amounts of money. And this was a nice one. It had a very good patina. The surface, the wood color here was excellent all the way around. Nobody ever cleaned it in soap and water and washed it all off. Just give it a little brush with a soft brush, get the dust out. And it did pretty well. It brought $515. And there are, I think, 2 more coming up in this week's video, okay? I mean, in this week's newsletter, all right? So if you haven't signed up for the newsletter yet, go to bidamount.com and sign up for the newsletter page, and you'll get an email when it comes out, and you can take a look. All right, and then there was this pair of Chinese cloisonne, a mirrored pair of Chinese cloisonne chargers. I thought these were quite lovely, very pretty, nice colors, good use of negative space with this. The blue sky background was quite good. Everything about it I liked. I thought this was nice. Very typical back with these fish scale wire work on the back, pretty typical. There they are. Sometimes they go in spirals, sometimes they use this fish scale pattern. And look at this. They only went for $285, okay? That was a really good buy. That was a fabulous buy. I've seen singles of these plates bring $300-400, okay? And to get a mirrored pair for under $300 is quite good, all right? And then there was this piece of, there's a bit of Bengkong ware showing up, this Thai market stuff. Lately, I don't know if some collection got emptied out somewhere or something, but there's quite a few, several pieces of it showed up last week, and there are several more coming up this week. And we're going to have them in the newsletter. And this was a nice one. It had the original lid, and often these lids being put back on, they're hot food lids, chip and crack and ding the pieces and stuff. But this didn't happen. And this was a nice old one, nice colors, nice soft red in that. And it did pretty well. It brought $863, all right? Very nice quality, though. And then there was this. This was a pretty rare thing. This was a Yongchen cup on stand with a saucer that has these. They made the feet out of lotus pods, and they would shape them and use them to create feet. And then you have this lotus form cup. Here's a picture of the bottom of it. You can see the vines coming up and scrolling around, and this is all molded very nicely. Nice looking enamels on it. Yongchen period, and it did pretty well. It brought Yongzhen period. My wife will correct me, and brought $2,159. All right, good price. And there was this. I don't know if anybody looked at this, because at a glance you might say, oh, what the heck? Doesn't look all that interesting. But it actually is, because it was a silver-backed cloisonné dish. There's the back of it. This was very nice, hallmarked, early 20th century, but very good quality silver. And then a cloisonné liner. Here it is, okay? Looked like it had maybe a tiny bend up here, but I don't really care about that. This is a pretty rare thing, actually. You don't see these. If you've been collecting for a while, think back to when the last time was that you saw a silver-backed cloisonné dish made in a silver shop. They don't turn up. And it went for a decent amount of money, but I don't think a crazy amount considering its rarity. $560. Nice piece. And then there was this Kangxi plate. Fairly typical type of the gentleman figure, two figures in a landscape with a woman ascending, holding a child, floating on a cloud, and this very nice diaper sort of losange dividers in between the cartouches around the cavetto, and then additional honeycomb work. Nice quality plate. Here's the back of it. Looks fine, and very reasonable. And it went for $340. Not a bad price for that. As I recall, it was around 10 or 12 inches in diameter, which is a pretty reasonable trade. Nice trade on that. Okay. And then there was the hat. Remember the hat? This was that probably beaver fur hat, Chinese winter hat, with the nice little fob on the top knob. Probably made from glass, though they did do them sometimes in rock crystal. But this one looks to be glass. All right, but very nice quality hat. And there's another hat actually coming up this week that's not a winter hat, but it's a summer hat. And it brought $508 US, which again is not a bad price for that, because if you're a Chinese costume and textile collector, you got to have one of these hats, and there it is. All right. And then there was this Swato bowl. Looked like maybe it might have been a shipwreck piece. It's got some nicks and so forth. It's got a fairly good-sized chip here, and some nicks around the rim and so forth. But a good-sized bowl. This is pretty good size. Had a lot of pulling in the glaze, I noticed, too. Here's a picture of the bottom. Swato pieces can be pretty rough, but very rustic, because they were turned out to be shipped to different places. All right, and you can see all the pulls in the glaze. But despite all that, it still brought $647. Not bad. All right, I think that was a pretty good price for that bowl. This was a good-sized bowl. It was a nice size. I think it was about 8 or 9 inches in diameter. And then we had this very attractive sterling silver and enamel boat on the beautifully carved wave wooden base. And as I said last week, this is very, very similar in appearance to the marble boat that's sitting at the Yuan Summer Palace that was built for Qianlong around 1770. All right, and a lot of people talked about this. They thought it was interesting, because it is. And it brought $735. All right, not an overpay for that. That's kind of unusual, and keep it in your mind and see how often you see another one. Okay, I think whoever bought it was being pretty smart. And this nice-looking pair of 13-inch rose mandarin vases with chimeras and foo dogs, and this nice sort of floral rim on the vases. Pretty straight up, nothing extraordinary, but it's good to know what they're worth. $1,421 for the pair. Not bad. And here's another one of those bottle vases. This one with birds and butterfly pattern. Pretty famous pattern. This pattern you also see on dishes and serving sets and so forth. Here's a picture of the bottom. What was nice about this, though, was it had its original stopper. All right, the stopper did have a couple of little chips out of it, but usually the stoppers are long gone on these, okay? And it sold for $1,125, which is just perfectly reasonable. All right, and then there was this vase. He had listed this as Kangxi. I don't think this is Kangxi. I don't think the blue is the right color. I think it's a late 18th century pot with a cracked ice pattern and prunus blossoms and so forth, apple blossoms. But it's a perfectly good pot. One criticism here though, and if you sell things and take pictures for eBay, don't crowd the picture quite so much and move the camera back. Today's cameras have a natural curve in the lens which causes distortion if the camera is within a couple of feet of the object, because this isn't actually the shape of this pot. The shape of this pot was actually quite nice, and people that have seen a lot of these know that. So back your camera up and allow some of the distortion to go away before you take your pictures. You can always use your zoom lens a little bit, and it won't bring the distortion back. All right, it'll keep it where it should be at that distance. Okay, just a thought. Nonetheless, the vase brought $1,903. All right, and that's not a bad price at all. And let's see here, it came out of Illinois, Elk Grove, Illinois. All right, and on to this. We featured this because I like this. This was a nice straight piece of 1830, 1840 rose mandarin with lion mask handles. I like this, the way they do these necks, where they slightly flare out. I think those are attractive. And this was a big vase. It was 24 inches. You can see by the Coke can how big this was. Very nice looking vase, and it was in good shape. And it brought $1,309 for one. All right, and then last on the results, we're going to get into what's coming up this week in a second. But there was this plate. This is really pretty Femi-Vert Kangxi. It certainly looks Kangxi to me. Plate or bowl, shallow bowl. This is an export bowl, probably made for Southeast Asia, maybe Thailand, India, with the coloring and the patterning. Nice overglazed blue enamels and so forth. Very pretty with these the Chinese fan and objects in the border and so forth, the Buddhist symbols. And it went, I think, for a reasonable price, $306. I think that was another very good buy for the week. All right, so keep your eye out for those. And down here, this is some of the things that are on the site currently, and we'll be adding the new stuff for this coming week will be added. By the way, some of you noticed that the pictures weren't appearing last week. I wanted to mention this. And you're just getting this eBay logo. This was a problem that eBay was having when they were calling over the images, and it was replacing the object image, why I don't know, with the eBay logo. Some sort of issue, and we hope they've resolved it. But our embedding program kept running into this last week. We had to redo a bunch of these, but I hope they fix that, because pictures are much better than eBay logos. All right, but there are a number of good things coming up here this coming week, and this is one of them. This just went up last night. The seller actually sent me a note yesterday saying he was going to be offering some things. He has this very good-looking 19th century seated Blanc de Chine Kuan-Yin. It's a good size one. It's over 10 inches tall. Okay, it's a nice one, and I think it's in very good condition in general, and very nice quality. Good quality Dewa work here. Okay. Nice face. I love the downward cast eyes, the curve of the lids, the lips, just beautifully done. Here's the interior of it. That's what you want to see, sort of gucked up when they worked it. And take a look at that. I think it's just gone up. It's only up to $10. You have 9 days to go. So remember to come by, put it on your watch list, then leave a bid. All right, and then you'll get double notifications. If you leave the bid first, you're only going to get notified based on the bid. Always do both. And then there's this very pretty, these are coming up, this very pretty pair of late 19th, early 20th century Blanc de Chine, archaistic bronze sort of things. The fellow had some trouble getting the light on these, I guess. But a nice looking pair. They have one of them, or both of them, have old Christie's East stickers on the bottom. But those look perfectly fine. Nice looking pots, and they would have gone through Christie's East years ago, and they're up to $200. He's got a reserve on them, but they should bring a few thousand, just so you have some idea. All right, but they're very pretty. They're nice, and it's a pair. All right, and there's also a good bit of Arita coming up this week, early Arita. This is a 1680s, 90s plate. There are several others on there, and there's also some good, pretty early-looking Kakiemon pieces. So if you're a Japanese porcelain collector or pottery collector, you want to check them out. There's this plate. I think this is extremely attractive. and a nice early example. And it's up to, it's got no bids yet. It's like an opening bid of $49, which is a no-brainer on that. This plate should bring 200 to 300 anyway. So check it out. And then this robe is up. This closes, I think, tomorrow. It's a nice dragon robe, beautiful condition, nice quality work, 19th century robe. Okay, I don't see a lot of pulls or any damage in the silk or on the metallic threads. And it's up to $5,500 with 26 bids. It does end tomorrow. So if you're a robe buyer, scurry over there and take a look at it. All right. And then there's this. This is strange. The seller has two of these. He has a pair. Here they are. But he listed them separately, and I don't know really why, but these look to be Yongchen. Very nice quality, very soft glaze, but an unusual form. All right. I like it. It's got sheep on it. I like animals on porcelain. And those are very pretty. Nice looking pieces. You can see the foot, very nice and neatly trimmed. And a little bit of irregular glazing under the bottom. Good looking pair. And it's only got 8 bids. This closes on Sunday. These close on Sunday. They're only up to about $36. These are sort of sleepers right now. If you're a 18th century porcelain collector, you want to check these out. All right, there are 2 of them. Remember that. All right, and then you have this 19th century cobalt blue Kangxi mark, but it's not Kangxi. It's 19th century. But beautiful quality cobalt on this. So if you're not in a position to shell out, $1,500 or $2,000 for the Kangxi example, you might look at this. This is very nice. Here it is with a lid. There's the bottom of it. But very good quality decoration. Nice quality cobalt. And good white paste. And they're up to $41. They close on Sunday. So you might want to check those out. That's a nice looking little jar. And last is this aubergine and turquoise glaze with yellow wine pot, a puzzle pot. Here it is. All right. Nice 19th century example. Beautifully done and rather unusual. Okay. Because I like the way they did the top of it. It looks as though the lid is going to come off. It doesn't. All right. It's on there. And very, very thick aubergine glaze. Nicely done. And it is right now up to $107. I had left a bid on it, I think of $100, just so I could keep an eye on the thing. And I've been outbid. That's okay. And it's up to $107. But this should bring $500 to $700. All right. So you might want to check that out. Okay. And that's it for the week. Okay. Check the newsletter this week. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter, please do. And also subscribe to us here on YouTube, and you'll get notifications when we do a video. We did do another video, in case you haven't seen it yet, on the auction down in Roswell. And we showed their pieces and compared them to some authentic pieces. We thought we'd take the opportunity to make the most of a bad situation. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great weekend. And if you're going out, it's going to be gorgeous here. 70 degrees, 75 degrees here on the island tomorrow. We like that. And have a wonderful weekend, all right? And good luck out there hunting around. All righty. Bye-bye.